Chapter 2. Lots of ice. Welcome to Antarctica, said Annie. Jack and Annie were bundled in cold weather gear. They both wore snow pants, gloves, boots with spikes, and thick red parkas with hoods. Goggles covered their eyes and wool masks covered their mouths and noses. A hiker's backpack had replaced Jack's own pack. Jack felt trapped by all the gear. He pulled his mask down under his chin and pushed his goggles onto his forehead. Annie did the same. Their breath made a cloud of mist in the freezing air. It's really cold here, said Jack. The wind stung his bare face and made his eyes water, but he kept his mask and goggles off as he looked out the window with Annie. The tree house was on the ground. It was tucked under the overhang of an ice cliff near the ocean. Icy sea water sparkled in the sunlight. The shore was silent and deserted. It looks totally empty out here, said Jack. I still don't get it. How can we find a cave of the ancient crown? Here. No king or queen ever ruled Antarctica. In fact, no people ever lived here at all until explorers came in recent times. Let's get started and try to figure it out, said Annie. Not so fast, said Jack. He pulled off his glove and opened their research book to the first chapter. He read aloud. The continent of Antarctica is the coldest, driest, and windiest place on Earth. Larger in area than the United States, its land is filled with ice, ice cliffs, icebergs, ice sheets, and ice shelves. Okay, that's lots of ice, said Annie. Got it. Let's go. In a minute, Jack kept reading. But Antarctica was not always the land of ice. Eons ago, it was part of a supercontinent scientists had named Gondwana. It had forests, flowers, many animals, including dinosaurs. But no people ever lived there. See, said Jack, no kings, queens, no crowns. Yep, let's go, said Annie. But Jack kept reading. Over millions of years ago, Antarctica broke off of Gondwana and drifted south. Okay, I'm drifting down myself, Jack, said Annie. Bye. She climbed out the window and disappeared from the treehouse. Jack looked back at the book, but before he could read further, he heard Annie whoop with laughter. Oh, whoa, Jack, come look, she yelled. What is it? You won't believe this. You have to come see. Jack put his glove back on and pulled out his backpack. He folded the paper with Morgan's rhyme and put it in his pocket. Then, clutching the research book to his chest, he climbed out of the window. Jack followed the sound of Annie's laughter. Beyond the tree, on the frozen seashore, was a group of penguins, grown-ups and babies. The grown-ups had an orange streak on their cheek, puffy white chests, and black wings held straight by their side. The babies were fluffy balls of gray fuzz. All the penguins were waddling towards Annie. They rocked from side to side, taking little steps. Jack burst out laughing. The big penguin looked like a committee of little men in black suits. The group stopped in front of Annie and squawked at her. Look at this baby, Emperor Penguin. Hi, guys, said Annie. Glad to meet you. The penguin stared back at her with friendly curiosity. They're so cool, said Jack. He opened the book and found a picture that looked like the group of penguins around Annie. He read, Emperor penguins are the tallest and heaviest of the penguin species and are also the most ancient. Over 3 feet tall, grown penguins can weigh up to 90 pounds. Researchers say penguins' closest ancestors lived 40 million years ago. 40 million years, said Jack. So what time have we gone back to? 1,000,000 years ago? 1,000 years ago? I don't know, said Annie, but I'll take pictures of them for my family project. They look like a little family, don't they? She pulled her camera out of her pocket and aimed at the penguins. Smile, everyone! As Annie took the picture, a shadow moved over the ice. The penguins squawked loudly and clustered together. Jack and Annie looked up. The shadow belonged to a giant bird circling around them. The bird was brownish gray with a long beak, and it let out an eerie cry. I'll look it up, said Jack. He flipped through the pages of their book to find a photo. Here, he read quickly. Giant petrels are vultures of Antarctica. They eat dead birds and animals. Sometimes they even attack young seals and Oh no, cried Jack. Jack looked up. The petrel was diving towards the penguin. It hit the smallest one with its wing and swooped back into the air. The penguin squawked and waddled away from the group. The petrel spread its wide wings and dove again. "No!" cried Annie. The petrel swooped away but circled back towards them. Jack dropped the book and scooped up a handful of snow to make a snowball. Before he could throw it, the petrel attacked again. Jack leapt towards the small penguin. He fell on his knees and threw his arms around the fluffy little body. Annie charged at the petrel. "Go! Get out of here!" she yelled, waving her arms. The petrel cawed. Then he rose high into the sky and disappeared over the ice cliff. Jack let go of the small penguin and stood up. The penguin peeped and waggled its head at Jack. Jack laughed. "You're welcome," he said. "Now go back to your family. Go!" He shooed the penguin back to the group. "All of you guys, back into the water now. You'll be safer there. Go." The penguins squawked and flapped their wings as if saying goodbye. Then they waddled across the icy shore, taking quick, tiny steps towards the sea. One after another, they dove between cracks in the ice until they disappeared. "Bye, guys," said Annie. "Honk!" "What's that?" said Jack. "Honk." "It sounds like some kind of horn," said Annie. "That's weird," said Jack. "It's coming from over there," said Annie. Jack picked up their book and followed Annie up the side of the icy slope. The metal spikes on his boots dug into the ice and kept him from slipping. When he and Annie reached the top, they looked down. "Oh, man," said Jack. "We haven't gone back in time at all." Now, a little bit from the Magic Tree House Fact Tracker. Many years ago, when explorers first went to Antarctica, they saw creatures they'd never seen before. They weren't sure what kind of animal they were. These creatures spent most of their time in the ocean. They had wings, but could not fly. Instead, they swam like the fastest fish and used their wings like flippers. Some people thought the mystery animals were very strange fish. Guess what? They were penguins. And they really are birds. Like all birds, they lay eggs and have feathers and beaks or bills. There are about 17 different types of penguins or species. They live in the southern seas all the way from Antarctica to the equator. Penguins in Antarctica spend most of their lives in the water, but once a year they live on Antarctica or on the surrounding ice sea to breed and raise their chicks. Over 100,000 penguins gather together in one rookery. The rookeries are noisy, busy places. It's the name of a huge group of penguins. Penguins make noise to attract mates or defend their territory. They spend time bowing at their mate, building pebble nests, and waving their flippers and grooming themselves. Flying through water. Penguins' bodies are made for speed in water. Their webbed feet push the water aside as they swim. They use their stiff, pointed tails as rudders for steering. They really do look as if they are flying underwater. Unlike most birds, penguins have heavy bones. This extra weight helps them stay underwater for a long time. The bone on their wings are flat and tightly fitted together. They make great flippers while they're swimming. The penguins leap in and out of the water. This gives them a chance to breathe. It also helps confuse any predator that might be chasing them. When they leap out of the water, it's called porpoising. Penguins are always on the lookout for food. They eat fish, squid, tiny shrimp creatures called krill, and other small creatures. Penguins don't have teeth. Instead, they have sharp little bristles on their tongues to keep the fish from escaping. Antarctic penguins need lots of protection from the cold. Extra layer of fats on their body trap heat. Their short, thick feathers act like raincoats. There are little oil sacs near their tails. The penguins rub their beaks into the oil and spread it over their feathers. The oil makes their feathers waterproof. Penguins molt once a year. This means they lose their feathers and grow new ones. Antarctic penguins look as if they are wearing a tuxedo. Their backs are black and their fronts are white. To warm up, they turn their backs to the sun. Black draws in heat and warms them too. When they need to cool down, they face the sun. White reflects the heat back into the air. Penguins also flap up their feathers at their neck to release heat. The penguins' black and white feathers protect them when they're swimming. When predators look down on them in the water, they see black. If the predators look up at them, the penguin's white stomach blends in with the water. Maybe their black and white feathers are even better than tuxedos. And we'll learn more about emperor penguins in our next chapter.